Everybody, my name is Anil Kumar and this is a Read to Lead series of videos. Today we are talking about Stephen R. Covey's Effectively Managing People by Following Principle-Centered Leadership. Principle-Centered Leadership, Effectively Managing People. The principle-centered power is created when the values of the follower and the leader overlap. Principle-centered power is created when the values of the leader and the follower overlap. So alignment of the objectives is what we have seen in the eighth habit and the third alternative. Likewise here, when the principles, when the values, when the core beliefs of the follower and the leader overlap, then principle-centered power is created. When this power is there, followers will be willingly following the leader. It will give a prompt willingness to risk anything and do the right thing because they are valued and modeled by the leader. When the values overlap, when they are in sync, then the followers will easily follow the leader. Security comes from within. It lies in your initiative, your resourcefulness, your creativity, your willpower, your courage, your stamina. The integrity, maturity and abundance mentality are the character traits essential to greatness. Integrity, maturity and abundance mentality. Don't be stingy and scarce in rewarding and recognizing. A moral compass is a leadership and empowering tool. The compass will guide you through your principles and values. Sharpening the saw is your physical, mental, emotional and spiritual regeneration, renewal and rejoining. There are three types of power. Coercive power, where it is a carrot stick approach, or it is a utility power where you reward me, I serve you, and then the principle-centered approach where rewards are not looked at. The efforts are put in just for the sake of the leader. People should follow you because of who you are. That will happen if you are principle oriented. Lead a balanced life. Do not make everything all or nothing. Lead a balanced life. That is what sharpening the saw will take you to. Learn to take praise without ego tripping and accept blame without overreacting. That is a balanced life. Accept everything in its stream. Not everybody wins every time. See life as a mission, not as a career. Leadership is a choice, not a position. Life is a mission, not a career. So what's the third alternative? The third alternative is problems we have cannot be solved at the same level. We need to, how we see things determines what we do, and what we do determines the results. We should be willing to ask, are you willing to look at the third choice? We should ask, are you willing to do where somebody has not done before? Are you willing to think a thought which even somebody has not thought before? The total outcome will be greater than the sum of the parts when you are in a cooperative, collaborative, coordinative mode instead of a competing mode. So rather than insisting one's own point of view or compromising or agreeing to an outcome, ask questions to understand where the other person is coming from. Make it clear that it is not exploiting and it is a positive approach towards possibilities. This is the third alternative. Then comes this serving others, which is the eighth habit. You have to find your voice. You need to ensure that the intelligence and resilience in others is properly put to use to bring out the boundless potential. Harness these 7 habits as well as the 8th habit. Then ensure that what we did in the past need not meet the requirements of the today's present. Don't ask what is in it for me. Ask what is it that you can give others. And choose to be a leader because it's a choice. Enlighten yourself. Look at the intelligence quotient, physical quotient, emotional quotient, spiritual quotient. Look at the vision, discipline, passion and conscience are in the right direction. And this is what will help you when you try to bring in the 8th habit of treating every person as precious, treating every individual as respectful, treating the whole body, mind and spirit and heart together, and serve others to help them find their value. So these are the 7 habits, the 8th habit, the third alternative. These are the principles that you need to follow so that you will have a principle-centered power, so that people will follow you for not what you offer, for not of the fear, but because of the respect and reverence. Principle-centered leadership begins with yourself and spread out towards those you lead, like a waves in a water. Principle-centered leaders strive to make characteristics reflective of their own leadership style. There are certain characteristics which are traits which are found in principle-centered leaders, and if it is found in your leadership style, people will automatically follow you. Without strong principles, principle-centered leaders, your staff, your employees, your team will become cynical. They will know that you are manipulative. They will know that your strategies and techniques are not going to last long because it is not helping anybody, neither the organization nor the individual. Principles are self-evident, self-validating, natural laws. Principles are self-evident, self-validating, natural laws. Principles are self-evident and self-validating. So what are the characteristics? The first one is to learn continually. This is nothing but your sharpen your saw in another form. Educate yourself through experience. Read, seek training, take classes, listen to others, learn from everybody and anything. Keep your eyes and ears open. Discover that the more you know, the more you don't know. Katrathu kallalavu, kallaladu, ulagalavu. That is what the Tirukkural says. As your circle of knowledge expands, so does your outside edge of ignorance. So the more you know, the more you don't know. That every principle-centered leader should recognize and remember. Knowledge is power. And now it's the time of the knowledge worker. It is the mind and brain that they bring to the work table. It's only asset that can't be taken away from the person. So keep on learning. Enrich yourself. Educate yourself. Renew yourself. But ensure not to become obsolete. What you know today will not help you tomorrow. So keep learning. Learn from others of experience. Don't have shame in saying I don't know. Everybody has something to teach. Learn continually, sharpen the saw. Next is be service oriented. That is serve others. The purpose of an organization is to serve human needs. See life as a mission. Leadership is a choice. Every morning, yoke up and put on the harness of service. That means what? The moment you wake up in the morning, the first thing that you should think is how I can serve somebody today. And everything that you think is how to serve another person. Any effort to become principle-centered as an intellectual exercise will fail. Your effort to become principle-centered will fail unless you have service as your mainstream. You need to have a sense of responsibility and activity. Whatever you do, you should be responsible. And you should be accountable to make it service-oriented. To lead is to serve. The 8th habit says it is to help others. That's your purpose of life is. You have to find value in yourself. What is that principle or the value that you want to live? What is the legacy that you have to leave behind? And you have to help others find their value. You have to take responsibility for that. Not only for your life, for that of your team. What legacy that you and your team want to leave behind. Be service oriented. Next is radiate positive energy. Be cheerful, be pleasant, be happy. Be somebody worth being around. Everybody should feel happy when you are around. Your spirit should be enthusiastic, hopeful, believing, optimistic. Don't spend negative energy. Positive energy attracts other positive energy fields. It neutralizes or sidesteps the other negative energy fields. When you encounter a confrontation, when you have a trouble, when you have a problem to resolve, when you have a fight between the ideas, look at the ideas and see how it can be resolved. Don't look at the individuals. Don't paint a person based on the team he belongs to. Strive to be a peacemaker. Diffuse the negative energy. Look at the possibilities. Look at the third alternative. Not everything is black or white. There could be other hues of the colors. Look at the 360-degree understanding. Seek to understand. Ask the questions. Say, if a person of your intelligence is not able to agree to what I say, then that means you have something more to say. That means you have something in your mind. That means there is some emotional or other aspects of yours which you are not understood. So, seek to understand. Seek to listen. Keep your attitude optimistic, positive, upbeat. Don't rehearse your answers but listen actively with empathy. Understand how to direct your anger and your other resources into the right direction. Because if it is properly combined and properly directed, you will radiate positive energy to everybody even if the person is full of negative aspects. Next characteristic of a principle-centered leader is to believe in other people. Trust. Trust is the most important thing. It is not being naive. It is being aware of the weakness. It is realizing that the behavior and potential are not the same thing. Realize the behavior and potential are not the same thing. Have trust. Do not look at the acorn for what it is, an acorn, but for what it can be. That's an oak tree. Realize the behavior and potential are not the same thing. The seed, the acorn, has the potential to become an oak tree. But its behavior is behavior as a seed. It lies there dormant. So believe in other people. Build trust. Be reliable. Be trustworthy. Trust others. Trust your team. Give them objectives. Give them responsibility. But give them freedom, empowerment to act. Don't overreact to negative behaviors, criticisms or weakness. Don't overreact. By refusing to be a stereotype, by refusing to prejudge, by refusing to have prejudice, you are limiting others from thinking you are not reliable. Believe in the unseen potential of the people. It creates a climate for growth and opportunity. Believe that people can deliver the results that you want. Your job is to make the team believe in their potential. Your job is to ensure your team grows up to the level the organization wants to. The next characteristic is lead a balanced life. Do not make everything all or nothing. Do not say it's 0 and 1. Learn to take praise without ego tripping. Live sensibly in the present. Enjoy and savor the food you eat. These small things. The luxuries of life are things that are free. The nature. Do not look at the binary of yes and no. Go for the colors. Beauty lies there. Understand that only true failure is not learning from your experience. Not learning from your experience is only failure. All other things can be rectified. There is always an opportunity to choose greatness. There is always an opportunity to shun mediocrity and take a turn. Discover that it is better to err on the side of understatement than to the side of exaggeration. Live a balanced life. Look for moderation. There is no value for success without failures as stepping stones. So the true value of failure is learning from your experience. There is no value for success unless failures are used as stepping stones. So use every opportunity as a learning experience. Learn from everybody continuously. The next characteristic is see life as an adventure. Save a life. Live a courageous explorer life. Go into life as an expedition. Go into the uncharted territory. Think differently. Be radical. Your critical thinking capabilities, your innovation capabilities, your problem solving capability, you should be looking at something totally different, unthought of or unheard of or unseen before. Be confident that it is worth double because it's a learning experience. You will find gems over there. Your security should not lie in your initiative. It should lie in your resourcefulness, your creativity, your willpower. Your security should be in your intelligence that you are able to do, because your training, your experience is something that nobody else can take it away. By sharpening your saw, you are having your PQ, IQ, MQ, SQ adequately sharpened enough so that you can win in any situation. Explore, step out of your comfort zone, know what is a center of influence and what's a center of concern. Be innovative, be creative, be curious, be enthusiastic, be open-minded, be a person who lives your life intentionally. Be alive. Choose to live in the present. Sense of security should come from within, not from outside. It should come from your resourcefulness, your willpower, your intelligence. Your personal security should not be defined by the abundance of your comfort zone or your home camp or the money balance in your account. The seventh characteristic is be synergistic. Synergy is 1 plus 1 is not just more than 2, but it is 10 or 100 or 1000. The multiplier effect. Grow exponentially. When principle-centered leadership encounter adversarial situations, they focus on the person's interest and not fight for the position. They look for what the other person wants. They look at the individual, the emotional and the psychological background, the culture and environment that he comes from and why he thinks differently. Look at the idea, look at the individual. These two things are different. We have to work for the third alternative, where the whole is more than sum of the parts, where you will have synergy. You have to build the team that strives to complement each other's weaknesses and supplements each other's strength. Sometimes delegation is necessary and it is easy so that the team can be trained. That will happen only if you believe in others, their capability, their potential to deliver, their ability to reach the objective, their capability to have the goal readily achieved. Don't go for compromise solutions because there someone loses. In a synergetic solution, you are always better than the original proposal. Both of them win something or the other and better than what you were. The eighth characteristic is exercise for self-renewal. Exercise can be physical, let's participate in some form of cardiovascular skills, running or swimming. It can be mental, put your mind through reading, problem solving, puzzles and brain solvers. Go for emotional, be patient and listen to others with genuine empathy. Try to look at various problems that people bring in and with empathy handle them. Spiritual, focus on meditation, maybe prayer, maybe study, maybe fasting. So the hour you invest in sharpening the saw is more valuable than any other hour of your day. The hour that you spend in sharpening the saw for your renewal, your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, all the angles, the individual as a whole, is more valuable than any other hour of your day. This will give you a private victory, and this victory will help you go with great speed and energy into reaching the public victory, because you can empower your team as a principle-centered leader. They will be willingly following you. A child must crawl before it walks. The law of the farm works. Focusing on personality before character is of no use, because what you think, the way you think, depends upon what is your perception, what is your approach towards life. What you think decides how you act. What you act decides the results. So your action is nothing but your habit. So your personality and character are two different things. The character comes from your regular habits, and you cannot fake it all the time. If you are principle based, your character will automatically be a good behavior acceptable to everybody. Put first things first. Principles are like compasses. They help you go into the right direction at the right time in the right way. By cramping, you may get through, you may get by, but it is not sustainable, and people will realize, because without sacrifice you achieve nothing. True motives will come out if you don't have the right character based on principles. Your behavior will be understood by others as it is self-serving. So go with the core principles. Only when you are living in harmony with your core values and principles, you can be straightforward, you can be honest, you can be upfront. Otherwise, you cannot be fair to yourself or to the team. You are interdependent, that you should know. And once you become independent by having core principles stick with you, then you can choose to help others, because serving is the main thing that is required. So the principles have to be built brick by brick. Law of the farm works. You cannot have it overnight. A corn doesn't become an oak. How do we do? By integrity, the values we place on ourselves. By maturity, the balance between courage and consideration. You should know what is right and why you should do it. Not just spend your resource on anything and everything that you can lay your hands on. Having an abundance mentality, believing there is plenty for everyone. It is not win or lose, because if I win you have to lose. No. If I win, you can also win, because there is abundance for everyone. Control of the passions, control of the emotions, by reining in the appetite for anything, maybe to get angry, appetite for power, appetite for money. Control, rein in the passions and emotions. Then comes a recognition of each person as a free agent capable of immense achievement, person with a boundless potential, person, an individual who is due for respect, a person who has a body, mind, spirit and heart. Most people have scarcity mentality. That is why we believe in yes or no. If it is yes for me, it has to be no for you. Don't see life as a finite pie. You can expand the pie and everybody can have a slice. Open your mind. See the unlimited possibilities. There is positivity and there is scope for development everywhere. Grow. Never view another's success as your own failure. It is not 0 for one means 1 for the other. No. It can be mutually beneficial to everybody. Seek or aspire, but then with your principles. It's not wrong to accumulate wealth as long as it is principle based. Be increasingly self-motivated and directed from within on a daily basis. Be self-motivated and directed from within. Lasting solutions come from within. So these are the necessary character traits that you need to have a primary greatness. Then once you are a principle-centered leader, you will have a personal victory that will take you rocket fire into public victory. There are different types of power. One is a coercive power, where leaders follow because of their fear. Initially leaders follow to get along, and then they give lip service, and then in later stages they may sabotage. Then the utility power, where they receive something and so they offer something in return to you, be it energy, be it talent, be it interest for information, and what they get is maybe money, maybe promotion, maybe bonus. So this is, as long as the opportunity remains, they will serve. That is utility power. Third is principle-centered power. People follow you as they believe in themselves and believe in you, and they believe in what you are trying to do. People believe in what you are trying to do. They believe in themselves because you gave them respect. They believe in you because you showed integrity and reliability. People are trusted, people are honored, people are respected. Then you will have principle-centered power over there. Principle-centered leaders are followed because others willingly want to follow them. People follow not out of blind faith. They are not robotic. It is not servant leadership. It is out of knowing wholeheartedly that you are liable and trustworthy and you will help everybody for the common good. The more the leader is honored, respected, or regards and reverence there, the more legitimate power the leader will have for principle-centered leadership, so that people will follow him willingly. The coercive power is very short term, because the big stick approach or carrot and stick approach is a deceit. It is a dishonesty, because you are giving fear. You are forcing them, controlling them to motivate to give the results. Unity power is sense of equity and fairness to a certain extent, but it is not sustainable for long. For a medium term, it is okay, because willingness to play along is only as long as their payoff is acceptable. Slowly they will raise their wage, and then you may not be able to offer. The principle-centered leadership is not just long-term, it can go on forever. Principle-centered leadership is not just long-term, it goes on forever. For example, if you see Mahatma Gandhi or Martin Luther King, even though they don't exist today, even though whatever ideals they want you to stand with them and fight for, those are already achieved, still people follow the teachings of those leaders. Why? Because they are forever. The principle-centered power or leadership is forever. The leaders are followed by the follower because the values overlap. It is a self-control, it is a willingness, it is the ability to risk for doing the right thing because they are valued. That is why principle-centered leadership based on core principles, the real values are affected. For this we need effective communication. How do we get this? Perception and credibility problems result, complicated knots come up, personality conflicts show up. All this happens because of communication problem. There is no problem that cannot be resolved. There is always a third alternative. And anything that happens, anything that goes wrong is always because of a communication problem. People involved think they see the world as it is. People think they see the world as it is. People don't realize that it is subjective interpretation. People don't realize that it is their personal, internal, subjective interpretation of the world. It is not as it is. People believe it is as it is. Both the parties believe in the same way. People don't realize the other party thinks so because of his internal interpretation, not reality. And because both the party don't move their position or paradigm, it goes into a communication breakdown or a conflict. Anyone who thinks differently is treated as wrong, treated as other, treated as alien, treated as enemy. The other is then placed behind a block, a curtain, and then he is not given information or permission to find a solution. I see it differently. Let me share it with you how I see it. Instead of I am right and you are wrong, try to say I see it differently. Let me share it with you how I see it. Instead of I am right, you are wrong. Say if you are not agreeing to my views, then there must be something more which I need to understand. Say if you are not able to understand my views, that means I need something more to understand. Don't say you are not understanding because that is why you are not agreeing. Say you are not agreeing because I have not understood something more. At the root of the communication problem is perception problem. Look for the third alternative. Don't have the perception, don't have assumptions and presumptions, don't prejudge, don't have prejudice. Critical thinking, innovative thinking. It is required to have a win-win solution. It is required to have a synergy. Everyone sees with a color, a specific angle. Nobody looks 360 degrees. Nobody can unless people open up. So communication is necessary. Seek to understand is necessary. Depend on your internal security and not from the external ranking or comparison or opinion or opposition or association or the reward or the remark that other people pass on. Look into yourself for your ability to be a principle-centered leader and communicate. What is effective communication? Most credibility problems can be resolved if both the parties realize it's a perception problem and realize that scarcity is not the thing, abundance is the thing. Why? Because the perception is if I win, you may not win. If you win, I may not win. That is a perception. We should understand there is abundance in this world. Everybody can win. Synergy is possible. Third alternative is possible. Serving others is a requirement. Once you have it, I assume good faith. I do not question your sincerity. That is the way you should approach a negotiation. Assume good faith. Assume that people care for the relationship. Put relationship over the results or rewards. Put kindness over being right. You want to resolve the difference. Say I am open to influence and I am prepared to change. Be willing to change. Be a servant leader. Say you are willing to listen. You speak to be understood. You listen to understand. You speak to be understood. So say all that needs to be said. Don't hide things, and you listen to understand. You actively listen. You listen to the cues and the body language, and then start a dialogue from a common point of reference. Don't go from your point of reference. Go from a common point of reference, and then move towards the areas of disagreement. Genuinely become interested, significantly interested, sincerely interested, significantly committed, sincerely committed to coming up for a win-win solution. It should be genuine. It is not that you are trying to exploit somebody, it is for the mutual benefit. Believe that there is enough for everybody in all forms of resources to realize everybody's dream. All can win. The success does not necessarily mean failure for another person. Just like their success does not mean failure for you. Be open-minded, have a larger frame of mind. So what are the characteristics? Learn continually, be service-oriented, radiate positive energy, believe in others, lead a balanced life, see life as an adventure, be synergistic, exercise self-control, communicate. Communicate to understand, communicate to be understood. Principles are self-evident, self-validating natural laws. Principles are the core or the base of any behavior. When you are living in harmony with your core principles, core values, you will be straightforward and honest. When a leader is honored and respected, you will have more legitimate power to lead. And when you lead in such a fashion, you will have a principle-centered leadership which will last forever. People will be willingly, without any reward, without any expectation, without any question, follow you so that the institution can reach its greatness more effectively. Thanks for watching this video. You are listening to Anil Kumar talking on Stephen Covey's Principle-Centered Leadership.